F. Joe Cronin, the Miami Heat pick up their 5th straight win. This one coming in Portland against the Trailblazers as they pick up a double-digit victory, 106-96. It wasn't the most pretty game for the Miami Heat, but hey, a win is a win, and it's good to see Miami get the job done on the road on the second night of a back-to-back. I will never complain about winning, and especially when it's against the Portland Trailblazers. This game has a lot of takeaways, in my opinion, and it just shows the amount of ways Miami can win basketball games, because it was a horrific first half, but then the defensive came through in the second half. They held the Blazers to 40 second half points. They were down 56-46 at halftime. They ended up winning the second half 60-40. That's what good teams do. When you don't have your good stuff, you're still able to get the job done. And it was all on the back of this man right here, Jimmy Butler. He was just phenomenal in this one. 22 points for our main guy, 9 assists. He had 8 assists at halftime. I was shocked to only see him finish with 9, but he was doing it all. And the part of his game that is just so elite, which makes him one of the best players in the entire NBA, is his ability to impact the game in a multitude of ways. Sure, he was very good in the first half, scoring 15, dishing out 8 assists, but what else did he do? He had 4 steals in this ball game and 2 blocks. He was a menace on the defensive side of the floor. And that's what makes Jimmy Butler so elite in the postseason, which has allowed him to be the main man on 2 NBA Finals teams in the last 4 seasons and 3 Eastern Conference Finals appearances as well. Two-way stars get the job done. And Jimmy's ability to get locked in on the defensive side as well as the offensive side is unparalleled in the NBA. There's guys like Paul George and Kawhi Leonard, but there's a very short list that can do it like him on both the offensive side and the defensive side like Jay Butt. He also knocked down a triple. He's continuing to shoot a high mark from 3 this year, 45%. Low volume, but hey, I'll take 45% either way it comes. Another good game offensively as well for him after serving that 1-game suspension ever since the All-Star break, and he returned to the Heat lineup after missing some time for the personal matter, which glad everything's okay with Jimmy mentally. He was cooking the New Orleans Pelicans on Friday night before the ejection, and obviously he served that 1-game suspension and then returned tonight and was the Heat's leading scorer and played one hell of a ball game. Break down this game more in depth, but I want to show our main guy, Jimmy Butler, some love. Spam those 22s down in the comment section. Show our leading guy, our leading role man who leads our Heat team, Jimmy Butler, some love. Spam those 22s down below. I think we have to talk about Terry Rozier next for the Miami Heat because I thought we were in the market for another rough game for Terry. It was his return after a 4-game absence with that knee sprain. Got hurt just before the All-Star break against the Boston Celtics, then obviously missed the game against Milwaukee, Philadelphia, the Sacramento, and New Orleans game, but finally made his return to the lineup and started, and he got off to a rough start. 3 of 8 from the field was not great, but finished the game 4 of 6 from the field, shot 50% for the game, 50% from 3, 19 total points, 4 rebounds, and 4 assists. And Rozier had a couple stretches in this game that just really impressed me. And I want to point them out for you. It was the end of the first half where the Heat were fighting to cut into a double-digit deficit and stay around in this game. He hit a 3 and an and 1 layup in back-to-back possessions. He had a personal 6-0 run for the Miami Heat. That was number 1. Number 2 was in the fourth quarter when Ashton Hagans took him off the dribble. It was a good take from the former Kentucky Wildcat, finished through contact, and then flexed on him and just mean-mugged him for an extended period of time, which I thought should have been a technical. It was not called, but how did Terry Rozier respond? Well, he immediately, on the next possession for the Heat offensively, got the ball, isolated a big man at the top of the key, little shimmy shake step back triple, knocked it down, and then he had some word for Ashton Hagans on the other side of the floor. Then hits a tough mid-range shot when he spun at the left elbow when he was practically double teamed. Rozier got absolutely on fire in that fourth quarter, and this is just the Terry that we wanted to see. I'm not asking Rozier to average 24 points a game like he was for the Charlotte Hornets. That's not what we need here. We have Jimmy and Bam to do that. I need Terry to give me 15 to 18 points a night on 50% shooting, because I'm going to need you to get to the rim and take good looks and shoot 35 to 38% from three. I'm not asking you to be a superstar 24-point per game scorer. I'm just asking you to do this. I don't think that's much to ask for, and obviously he's not going to shoot 50% on a nightly basis, but if Scary Terry is able to give you this type of efficiency and this type of shot creation off the dribble in isolation settings from time to time to give Jimmy Butler, Bam Adebayo, Terry Rozier from rest, that only elevates this Heat team and takes them to another level. More to get to on today's video, but shout out to Factor Meals for sponsoring today's video. Factor Meals, well, what is it, you ask? Well, it's delicious, ready-to-eat meals that make eating better every day easy. Wherever tomorrow takes you, be ready with pre-prepared, chef-crafted, dietitian-approved meals that are delivered straight to your door. They have over 35 different options a week to choose from, including keto, calorie smart, vegan veggie, and more. There's even more to enjoy with over 55 nutrition-packed add-ons that help make your weekly meal planning even more delicious. What are you waiting for? I don't know. But get started today and have a feel-good week of meals ready to go. Sign up and save. We've done the math. Factor is less expensive than takeout, and every meal is dietitian approved to be nutritious and delicious. It's also an upscale meal option. Like, you're not skipping out on anything. I trust you. They're flavorful. They're good. They're good pieces of meat. Factor meals. I mean, I'm telling you, it is just absolutely terrific. So head to factormeals.com/HeatChat50 and use code HeatChat50 to get 50% off today. That's code HeatChat50 at factormeals.com/HeatChat50. Link is in the description and comments of today's video. All right, let's jump over to Duncan Robinson because, boy, I don't think he will continue to start when Hero comes back, which I hope is Thursday against the Denver Nuggets, but it's hard for him to not garner some momentum to crack that starting lineup. Why? Well, the Heat simply don't lose when he starts, and when he scores 20-plus, they don't lose. When they score 18-plus, they don't lose. When Duncan plays well, the Heat don't lose. He really seems to be the X factor for Miami in a lot of ways. And yesterday's game against Sacramento wasn't his best. 1 of 11 from the field. Did have 11 assists, though, which really turned that game in Heat's favor in that second half, but bounced back on the second night of a back-to-back. He held the Heat together in the first half with 2 triples in that first quarter. And then coming out of the gates in the third quarter, he knocked down 2 threes in the first minute of the third period, which allowed the Heat to get immediately from a 10-point deficit down to 2, also thanks to a Jimmy Butler steal and slam. Duncan's 4 triples were absolutely massive tonight. As a starter, he averages 17 points a game, hits that mark again. D-Rob is continuing to be a revelation for the Miami Heat this season. And man, oh man, I was one of the people that said the Heat should trade off of his contract in the offseason. Hand up, I won't shy away from a take. I'm just glad to be wrong, and I'm glad Duncan is having a rebound season. I also want to show some love to Nikola Jovic, who helped partake in that third quarter where the Heat outscored Portland by 14 and went from down 10 at the start to up 4 heading into the final 12 minutes. Yovic had 8 points in this ball game, all 8 of them coming in that third quarter, where he knocked down 2 threes, including 1 in front of the Trailblazers bench in the corner, and then turned around and said something on the way back. He also caught a lob in transition and hit a left wing 3 as well. Yovic continues to prove Jimmy Butler right and Eric Spoelstra right for him being in the Heat starting lineup and earning about 15 to 16 minutes a ball game because he can make a difference on the glass. Not today, only got 2 boards, but his ability to space the floor alongside Jimmy and Bam while also giving Heat extended size and finishing and playmaking as well, because he is one of the best passers on this Heat team already. And I know he's not going to be the most impactful Heat basketball player this playoffs. He'll continue to have a role, but I only see Jovic's role on this Heat team growing as time goes on, and he can be an absolute difference maker for Miami next season if we're already looking ahead. A couple more players to touch on before we head out of here on today's video. Bam, not the biggest night for Adebayo, but after how well he played against the Sacramento Kings yesterday, it was good to see him take a little bit of a off day offensively where not everything was on his shoulders. Usage rate for Adebayo was certainly down tonight, only taking 9 shots. Fine by me. 13 points, 9 boards. I will say this about Bam, and he needs to clean this up before we get to the postseason in crunch time. He had 5 turnovers yesterday against the Kings, 6 today. As a center, 11 turnovers in back-to-back games combined. That can't happen. Adebayo, you're playing fantastic defensively and great offensively as well, but can you please stop turning the ball over? That's all I ask. All right, this is going to be the last player I talk about because I know a lot of you guys are going to wonder about DeLon Wright. Not the biggest role today, only played 17 minutes, but in that diminished role, did not do a lot of crazy things offensively, but you're also not expecting DeLon to score 13 a night. If you're expecting that, check out of the psych ward because that's not going to happen like he did in Sacramento. But what he can provide you is point-of-attack defense, and I thought he did an excellent job on Anthony Simons and Tamari Kamara when he switched on to them in that second half when the Heat went on that run to retake the lead. He had a steal tonight, and it feels like DeLon Wright will always have a steal, whether he plays 4 minutes, 15 minutes, or 30 minutes. DeLon Wright will always find a way to get his hand in the cookie jar and force a turnover. That's how good he is defensively. And I'm not going to say he's some elite buyout market signing from Pat Riley and the Miami Heat, but to go from Kevin Love, who once again played well again tonight and has been an amazing backup center this year for Miami in the buyout market last year, to have DeLon Wright make the impact defensively he has had in the last 2 games for Miami off the buyout market. Man, oh man, you can't ask for anything more out of the Heat's front office for picking 2 good signings off the buyout market. That will do it for today's video. Appreciate y'all tuning in and watching as the Heat picked up their 5th straight win. All 5 games coming on the road. The Heat now currently sit at 5th in the Eastern Conference standings, by the way, as they hold the same record as the Philadelphia 76ers, who they've beaten twice this year, so they have the tiebreaker over Philly as we currently sit. Couple games back of New York for the 4 spot. I believe 4 games back of Milwaukee for the 3 spot. That's where I have my eyes out on for. Can the Heat go on a heater and climb up the Eastern Conference standings to retake that 3 seed, stay on the opposite side of the Celtics in the Eastern Conference final or Eastern Conference bracket, and still have home court advantage for the first round of the postseason? That's the most ideal path for Miami, in my opinion. Big game on Thursday, Denver Nuggets to close out this West Coast road trip for Miami. NBA Finals rematch will be live, so hit that sub button and join us.